Sean, if we can start with the bit from last night. Apologies, I wasn't in your post-match presser, but I don't know if you've heard what Jurgen Klopp revealed. He said that he'd spoken to the referee early on, particularly about a sliding tackle, and he basically said to the ref that the ref should stop those kind of tackles taking place.
No, I did see the comments. I was a little bit confused actually, because I think it said something to the effect, I might have this wrong, but I think so. There was a sliding tackle from some distance, which everyone liked it, and it was a good tackle, but you're not allowed to do that tackle, but everyone liked it. And then I went to see the referee, but it's a fair tackle, but everyone liked it, but you shouldn't do that tackle. I couldn't really make out which part of that was the right and the wrong of it. What I would say is this, and I think this is important to register. There were some excellent tackles last night. I think the only one that was questionable was Bardo's. I think Ben Mees was a fantastic tackle. And I imagine, I don't know this, but a player, what seems to me, an honest player like Gomez, I think he realised that. That was the messages we got after. We send him our best if there is any injury occurred, but it's not from a bad tackle. And the other thing is, it's funny how managers often, something I'm obsessed with, as you know. So he didn't reference Daniel Sturridge's cheating when he never got touched, nothing near him, and went down and actually got a free kick for it. So the point for bringing that up is this. I watched Liverpool as a kid and was a Liverpool fan growing up, baby of the 70s. And when I grew up watching them, and every Liverpool fan watching them in the history of that club, they had a fantastic side of skill, will, demand, and a physical edge. Now, if that has gone, or suggestibility is saying that you're not allowed to make them tackles that our lads made last night, has been replaced by cheating, I absolutely am happy to be old-fashioned, because there is no way I'd want to not see good, proper professionals challenging in that manner that ours did last night and replace it with cheating. No way. And there is too much cheating in the Premier League. I've said it time and time again. And I just can't believe that Jurgen Klopp or Liverpool fans, and I don't believe they do, by the way, I must make that clear, would want cheating in the game and sacrifice good, honest challenges that were happening last night. I just don't believe that's the way football wants to be. So that's my only view of it, not my view on Jurgen Klopp's view, it's my view on football in the bigger picture, because I thought our lads went about their business terrifically last night. And everyone else, I must say, apart from their manager, seemed to agree. You know, the media last night, pretty honest in their feedback, in my experience, not always, but they were last night, said you players went about it the right way, tried to take on the game, tried to win a football match. You know, I really didn't see anything in it. That's the bigger picture. I just didn't see anything in it, you know, other than players, you know, trying to win a football match and showing the will and the courage and the demand to try and win a football match against one of the top sides in the country. So I honestly just believed that.
As a wider point, do managers have the right to call for referees to give their players more protection?
Oh, they have the right to do whatever they wish. That's not a problem. You know, as I suggest, it's my view. I'm not saying Jurgen Klopp's view is wrong. That's his view. I'm just giving you my view on where football is at the moment. You know, of course, football managers can question whatever they want, but I don't think they can reinvent the rules, though. You know, and the rules, unless I, you know, have lost my mind, is if you make a fair and honest challenge and are in control of that challenge, then it's just a fair and honest challenge. And I thought the challenges last night, other than one, was in control. You know, and actually, you know, really high professional standards. These are professional athletes. These are people who can control their movement. Never more so in the modern game. The amount of, you know, strength and conditioning, the amount of movement patterns they do in training, the amount of all sorts of detail, mobility, you know, balance, incredible level now. So they can definitely control their actions. And I thought our lads did that really well last night. And I think all footballers, most footballers do, by the way. Most footballers do. And I don't think there's many fans in this country who want to see tackling go out the game. I really don't. I'll be amazed if there's many fans who want to see tackling go out of the game, especially fair tackling, which was happening last night.
Were there any elements of your perceived thoughts on perhaps his reaction, which is why you maybe confronted him? Was it something?
No, I didn't confront him. Didn't confront him. Just shook his hand and said, "Well done."
What about the approach. It's been, I've read a lot this morning, I've heard a lot of people talking about general approaches to football off the back of this, and whether teams should have a physical approach or not. I mean, do you see your team as physical? I mean, that's kind of the criticism out there.
I think year on year we've been almighty low in bookings, sendings off and the like. I think year on year since I've been here, so they can't be that physical, that's for sure. I don't know. I don't know how you judge that. You know, we get the long ball thing last week. We had that against Newcastle. We had 478 passes. Nearly impossible to be just kicking it down the pitch when you have 478 passes. Excuse me. And by the way, I make it clear, I'm more than happy for my players to mix the play, not a problem. But the perception against the fact is often different. You know, but the game, unless I've got it wrong, is 22 high-powered athletes out there playing football. So I think it's highly unlikely you don't have physical contact. But I do remind you, I still think that fans prefer that than seeing people diving all over the place. I know it's, and I have to make it clear, we're not talking about gamesmanship, remember. Gamesmanship's clever play, that's been there forever. Don't mind that at all. I'm talking about people who blatantly dive, as one of their players did last night, with no contact whatsoever, and actually got the free kick. So that can't be right at any level at all. So I definitely prefer to see if there is deemed physical style of football rather than cheating football, definitely. And I think I'll be amazed if there's fans out there who don't agree with that.
So when it comes to perceptions then, is there a danger that this kind of discussion, these comments about your team, the perceived way they play, is there a danger that can impact referees and decisions going forward? That's
up to them, it's not up to me. I think it's the first time it's come up this season. In fact, I would go as far as to say we haven't been physical enough this season in some games. Our tackle counts down, our blocking counts down. So how are you judging physicality? So our running count, general running stats are still pretty reasonable. Our sprint stats are down. That's physicality. So what kind of physicality do you mean? It's I've said it before and I jest about it, but I don't remember getting beat by Man City and saying, well, they were a disgrace. They had 800 passes. It's a disgrace. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. Different ways of playing. You've got to try and win a game, whatever way you think of it. You've got to find a way of winning a game, and it's very, very difficult for us at the moment, quite obviously. Having a real tough spell of results, performances decent at least against Newcastle, didn't get anything, way off the mark at Palace, and then at least decent last night, and could have got something on a different night maybe. So we have to do what we have to do, whatever that is, to try and get results. But we hope to do it in a planned manner and a designed manner. But we'd still take a lucky one if it comes our way.
Lots of talk about the future of Tom Heaton. What are the chances he leaves?
Where did that link come from?
No need to link.
Okay.
I paused for a second.
It's all right.
What are the chances, though, that he does leave in
well, there's a possible chance. Tom's absolutely in the open with my views on it, as I am with his. Fantastic pro, we know that. International goalkeeper, we know that. Real competitive edge to what's going on at the moment. Because Joe's done well on the whole, but we have conceded a lot of goals. That's not just down to a keeper, by the way, quite obviously. But no, he's right in the thick of it and pushing constantly, Tom, because of the top-class pro that he is.
Have you had any inquiries for him yet?
Excuse me. Nothing that means anything. Lots of tittle-tattle you tend to get as a manager, but nothing that means anything.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, Sean, obviously you made a few changes last night, sort of how pleased were you with the way that the players came in and reacted?
I'm really pleased because you have to measure it on the performance, not about the opposition. They're a very good opposition, we know that, but really pleased with the performance level as the team, but also the players coming in. And you know, I've mentioned many times that in-house demand is important, because if the players come in, play well, the players that then go out have to make sure they're ready and raring to go to try and get the shirt back, so to speak. So although we didn't get a result, there was clear signs of an improvement in the performance, and both individually and collectively. The main thing for me, and I referenced it to the players last night, is we have to now, you know, we've set a few benchmarks this season and then dropped away from it too quickly. I said, if that's a benchmark last night of a performance, then we've got to at least maintain that and find consistency, and then add to that, with bits of quality, bits of, key moments, whether it's blocks, whether it's defending properly, whether it's a detail in their box to score a goal. We've got to apply all them details. But as a new benchmark, because we've had several this season, then come away from it, as I mentioned, then that is certainly a sign of the team performing at the right level, I think.
And especially against the team
Excuse me.
outside the top six, I guess in some ways it seems more important to have that level, isn't it?
No, of course. No, you're exactly right, because statistically it is very difficult to beat the top six. Well, it's difficult to win games in the Premier League, but especially then the top six. Outside of that, we've seen that it can be topsy-turvy. Teams going on good runs, not so good runs. It's not just us. There's been several teams this season have had tough runs and popped out of it. So statistically, you've got an improved chance against the clubs around you to win games. We have to, therefore, as you rightly stated, put in performances like last night, add, of course, the detail in both boxes to make sure we get results.
Which brings me to Brighton. Does Chris Hughton get enough credit, you think, for the job that he's doing?
I don't think Chris looks for credit, to be honest. I think certainly in football he knows he gets a lot of credit from fellow managers. I've always had a good relationship with Chris, very honest, straight guy, good at what he does without a doubt. I don't personally think he'd be searching too much for that. I think he knows he's doing a good job. I hope he knows he's doing a good job. I think it's recognised, and his team as well. Certainly not an easy task playing against them. Organised, always are. Happy to play long when they need to. Happy to fight when they need to. Work from a shape. Similar but different to ourselves in some ways. And we know it's another tough game, and particularly when we're having a tough time. But we bounced out of these times before. We've had tough times before. Our crowd, if they continue backing us like they did the other night, that's another weapon, because they were absolutely magnificent, and that's going to be important going forward. So, yeah, a lot for us to build on against Brighton on Saturday.
Do you see kind of similarities between the two clubs and the two teams?
Well, I'd say not so much. I mean, I think, their spending power's improved over the years. I think over the last three windows, they're a pretty high number. But I think the size of the club slightly differently with the new club as it is now, fantastic stadium. But I think the team-wise there are some similarities, easy for me to say. They've got players who have developed into a side. They've got players who they've stood by and have improved. And I think Chris will really enjoy that, and his players will enjoy that, because we all want to work in the market, but it's important the players that you're working with and you've known for some time are growing with the club as well, and I think they've done that well. So that's definitely some of the similarities. And like I say, some of the traits of the way they play, and overall a good story for them, without a shadow of a doubt, and Chris is a big part of that story.
And how are you looking at injuries?
Yeah, okay, Stephen Defoe will still be touch and go. We've got to be careful with him. Everyone came through last night pretty much clear, a few knocks and scrapes, but everyone else should be fine.
But you're confident with Stephen that it's nothing kind of...
Yeah, at this stage, we're just got to be sensible with him, and he's old enough and wise enough to know his own body. So we're just really making sure.
And what about Ward and Pope?
Yeah, they're going well. Ward is going well. He's still got a bit of time yet, but he's going well. He's slowly but surely getting back on the grass. And Pope has gone along nicely. He's training more and more with the first team group as in active training. He's been training with Billy, obviously, as an individual goalkeeping role, but then coming into the group and playing in small-sided games and, the more dynamic stuff. When you're coming back to full fitness, part of it is the uncontrollable stuff, particularly as a goalkeeper. So the control drills are with Billy. When he comes with us, small-sided games, etc., that's when it's, going on instinct and doing what goalkeepers do. So that'll come back the more he does it.
Any idea yet when he might be ready for a meeting?
No, not at the moment. We've got rough guidelines, but we'll just keep him going along nicely as he is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys and girls, cameras up.